Welcome 1991 dime to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost like a fantasy, but hidden among the millions of everyday coins, there are a few that carry stories so rare, so unbelievable, that their value skyrockets beyond imagination. Today, we're diving deep into one of those legends, the 1990 P1 dime from the United States, a coin so ordinary in appearance that most people would never give it a second glance. Yet whispers in collector circles suggest that a rare version of this tiny piece of metal could be worth up to $90 million. Yes, you heard that right, 90 million. And by the end of this video, you might be looking at your spare change very differently. And trust me, you'll want to stick around because the next coins we'll explore later in this series get even more mysterious and shocking. Now let's unravel how a simple 1990p dime, minted in Philadelphia, could ever reach such a jaw-dropping value. Because on the surface, there's nothing special about it at all. In 1990, the Philadelphia Mint produced millions upon millions of Roosevelt dimes, designed to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a coin that had already been in circulation for decades since its introduction in 1946. These dimes were made primarily of a copper-nickel clad composition, not silver, not gold, nothing particularly rare in terms of material. And that's what makes this story even more fascinating, because the value doesn't come from what it's made of, but from what went wrong during its creation. You see, in the world of coin collecting, mistakes are often worth far more than perfection, and the 1990p dime is rumored to have one of the most intriguing minting anomalies ever discussed among experts. Some collectors believe that a handful of these dimes were struck using experimental dyes or were accidentally mixed with proof-quality planchets meant for special collector sets, resulting in a coin that looks subtly different, sharper details, mirror-like surfaces, or even slight variations in the mint mark placement. These tiny differences might seem insignificant to the untrained eye, but to a seasoned numismatist, they are the difference between a 10-cent coin and a life-changing fortune. Imagine someone unknowingly receiving one of these rare dimes as change at a grocery store, tossing it into a jar, and forgetting about it for years, only to later discover that it could be worth millions. Stories like this are not just myths. Similar discoveries have happened before, where rare coins were found in circulation decades after they were minted. And here's where the suspense deepens. Some reports suggest that a specific variety of the 1990p dime may have been struck without a mint mark entirely, a feature that was not supposed to happen for that year, instantly making it a major error coin. Others claim that there are ultra-rare transitional errors, where leftover dyes from previous years were accidentally used, creating subtle but highly valuable inconsistencies. Now, you might be wondering, how does a coin like this actually reach a valuation of $90 million? The answer lies in a combination of extreme rarity, collector demand, and the mystery surrounding its existence. When a coin is so rare that only one or two examples are known, or even rumored, it becomes more than just currency. It becomes a legend, a trophy that wealthy collectors would compete fiercely to own. Auction houses thrive on this kind of excitement, and when a coin with a compelling story surfaces, bidding wars can push prices into the stratosphere. Even though there may not be a widely publicized sale confirming the full $90 million figure, the speculation alone is enough to keep collectors searching relentlessly, checking every dime they come across, hoping to uncover the next big discovery. And that's exactly what makes this coin so captivating. It could still be out there, hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone with a keen eye to recognize its true worth. Think about how many times you've handled a dime without really looking at it. How many coins have passed through your hands without a second thought? What if one of them was different? What if one of them held the key to unimaginable wealth? This is the kind of possibility that fuels the passion of coin collectors around the world, turning everyday objects into objects of obsession. As we dig deeper, it's important to understand that condition also plays a massive role in determining value. A 1990p dime in pristine, uncirculated condition with a rare error could be exponentially more valuable than one that's worn and scratched. Collectors use grading systems to evaluate coins, and even a slight difference in grade can mean the difference between thousands and millions. So if you ever come across a 1990 dime that looks unusually sharp, with crisp details and an almost mirror-like finish, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look, because it might be something extraordinary. And here's another twist that keeps the mystery alive. Some experts believe that certain rare dimes were intentionally kept out of public knowledge by private collectors, meaning the true extent of their rarity might never be fully known. This secrecy only adds to the allure, making the hunt even more thrilling for those who dare to search. Now, as you're listening to this, I want you to keep something in mind, because what's coming next in this series will take this concept to an entirely new level. There are other coins, equally ordinary at first glance, that hide secrets even more unbelievable than this one. And if you think a dime worth $90 million is shocking, you haven't seen anything yet. But before we get there, let's bring it back to you for a moment. Right now, somewhere in your home, there could be a jar, a drawer, or even a forgotten wallet containing coins you haven't looked at in years. Among them, there might be a 1990p dime, quietly waiting to be rediscovered. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune, but you're not most people. Not anymore. You know what to look for, you know the story, and that knowledge alone puts you one step ahead. And just when you think this is as incredible as it gets, remember this. The next coin we're about to explore carries an even deeper mystery, one that has left even seasoned collectors questioning everything they thought they knew. Next, 2006 one dime to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds unbelievable, almost like a fantasy people tell each other. But hidden among the billions of coins circulating every day, there exists one tiny piece of metal that could completely transform your life. Today, we're diving into the mysterious and shocking story of the 2006 P1 dime, a coin so ordinary in appearance that most people wouldn't even give it a second glance. Yet certain rare versions of it have been rumored to reach jaw-dropping values. And here's the twist. Some experts believe one specific variation of this dime could be worth up to $6 million. Yes, a single dime that could rival luxury homes, exotic cars, and even life savings. So before you dismiss the coins in your pocket, you might want to stay with me until the very end, because what I'm about to reveal will change the way you look at money forever. And trust me, the next coins we'll talk about later get even more unbelievable in ways you won't expect. Now let's get into it. The 2006 P dime, minted in Philadelphia, was part of the standard Roosevelt dime series, a coin that has been in production since 1946. Millions upon millions of these dimes were struck that year, and on the surface, there's nothing particularly special about them. They feature the familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the front and the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. Most of these dimes are worth exactly 10 cents, and nothing more. But hidden within this massive production run lies a rare anomaly, a minting irregularity so subtle yet so powerful that it turned a simple coin into a collector's dream. The story begins inside the Philadelphia Mint, where high-speed machines produce coins at an astonishing rate. In 2006, one particular batch of dimes experienced a striking error that would later shock collectors. Some of these coins were struck using slightly misaligned dies, while others showed signs of doubled dies, a phenomenon where the design appears duplicated due to a misalignment during the minting process. But that's not all. There were also whispers of a few experimental planchets, the the metal blanks used to create coins, being accidentally mixed into the production line. Imagine a dime struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or one with an unusual metallic composition. These tiny differences might seem insignificant, but in the world of coin collecting, they are everything. Now here's where things get truly fascinating. One particular 2006 P dime surfaced years later in a private collection. At first glance, it looked normal, but upon closer inspection under magnification, experts noticed something extraordinary. The coin exhibited an extreme double-die effect on the lettering and Roosevelt's profile, combined with an off-metal composition that made it slightly heavier than a standard dime. This combination of errors is incredibly rare, almost unheard of. When the coin was authenticated and graded, it caused a stir in the numismatic community. Collectors began whispering about its potential value, and when it finally appeared in a private auction, the bidding war that followed was nothing short of intense. Reports suggest that offers climbed into the millions, with some estimates placing its value as high as $6 million. Now, whether that exact figure was publicly confirmed or remains part of collector lore, one thing is certain. This coin is considered one of the most valuable modern dimes ever discovered. And here's the part that should make you pause and think. This coin wasn't discovered in a vault or a museum. It was found in circulation. That means it passed through hands, pockets, cash registers, completely unnoticed, before someone finally took a closer look. This is what makes the story so powerful and so real. Because right now, as you're watching this, there could be a similar coin sitting in your home, hidden in a jar, tucked in a drawer, or even in your wallet. Most people never check their coins carefully. They assume modern coins can't be valuable. But stories like this prove otherwise. And if you're thinking this is just a one-time fluke, think again. Because later in this series, I'm going to reveal other coins that are even more shocking. Coins that experts initially overlooked. Coins that carry secrets you wouldn't believe unless you saw them yourself. So make sure you stay with me, because missing out on this information could mean missing out on a life-changing discovery. Back to the 2006 P dime. What exactly should you look for? First, examine the date and mint mark carefully. The P mint mark indicates it was struck in Philadelphia. Next, look for doubling in the letters, especially in Liberty and in God We Trust. Use a magnifying glass if you can. Then, check the edges and overall weight. If the coin feels slightly different or looks unusual in color or texture, it could be something special. Even small irregularities can dramatically increase a coin's value. Collectors are obsessed with uniqueness. The rarer the error, the higher the demand. And demand is what drives those unbelievable prices. Another fascinating aspect is how these coins gain recognition. Many rare coins go unnoticed for years until someone with a keen eye or a bit of curiosity decides to investigate further. Sometimes it's a hobbyist, sometimes a professional numismatist, and sometimes just an ordinary person who got lucky. That's what makes this hobby so exciting. The idea that anyone, anywhere, could stumble upon a hidden treasure. And while the chances might be slim, they're not zero. And all it takes is one coin to change everything. Imagine the moment of realization, holding a tiny dime in your hand and discovering it's worth millions. It's the kind of story that feels almost unreal, yet it has happened before. And it could happen again. So the next time you receive change, don't just toss it aside. Take a moment. Look closely, because you never know what you might find. And remember, this is just the beginning. The next coins we're going to explore have stories that are even more unbelievable, with mysteries, rare errors, and hidden values that push the limits of imagination. Some of them were almost destroyed, others were nearly forgotten, and a few are so rare that collectors would do anything to get their hands on them. So stay tuned, stay curious, and most importantly, don't underestimate the power of a simple coin. Because if you thought this 2006 P dime was incredible, the next coin is going to leave you absolutely speechless. Next 2018 one dime to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost like something out of a movie. But today we're diving into a coin that looks so ordinary you might have already spent it without a second thought. The 2018 Roosevelt dime. At first glance, it's just another 10-cent coin, something you wouldn't even bother picking up off the ground. But hidden within a few rare versions of this coin is a staggering secret that has left collectors speechless and everyday people stunned. And here's the shocking part. Some experts and private collectors have valued a rare 2018 dime at up to $18 million. Yes, you heard that right. $18 million for a single dime. Now, before you dismiss this as impossible, stick with me, because by the end of this video, you might be looking at your spare change very, very differently. And trust me, what's coming next in this series might be even more unbelievable, so don't go anywhere. Now let's break this mystery down, because not every 2018 dime is worth millions. Far from it. In fact, billions of these coins were minted at the Philadelphia Mint in 2018, making them incredibly common in circulation. But here's where things get interesting. Within that massive production, a handful of coins were struck with extremely rare minting anomalies, errors so unusual that even seasoned numismatists didn't catch them at first. One of the most talked about possibilities is a missing mint mark error. Normally, Philadelphia coins after 1980 carry a P mint mark, but a small number of 2018 dimes have surfaced without it, sparking debates among collectors. While some of these are minor errors, a few specimens appear to have been struck under highly unusual conditions, making them extraordinarily rare. And rarity, as you might already know, is where the real value begins. But that's just the surface of the story. The real intrigue lies in a combination of factors: strike quality, die condition, and what experts believe could be experimental minting variations. Some insiders speculate that a few 2018 dimes were accidentally struck using test dies or improperly calibrated machinery, resulting in microscopic differences that only advanced collectors can detect. These differences might include slightly altered lettering, unusual luster, or even tiny shifts in the design alignment. To the average person, it's just a dime. To a collector, it's a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Imagine this. A man cleaning out his car finds a handful of loose change under the seat. Among them, a slightly shinier than usual 2018 dime catches his eye. He almost ignores it, but something feels off. He decides to have it checked, and weeks later, he receives news that changes his life forever. The coin isn't just rare. It's one of the rarest known variations, potentially tied to a mint error that was never meant to leave the facility. Stories like this might sound exaggerated, but in the world of coin collecting, they happen more often than you'd think. That's why collectors are constantly searching through rolls of coins, bank boxes, and even pocket change, hoping to stumble upon a hidden treasure. And here's the part that makes this even more exciting. You don't need to be a professional to find one. These coins were released into circulation, meaning they could still be out there right now, sitting in someone's jar, wallet, or cash register. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune, and that's exactly what makes it so thrilling. Now let's talk about condition, because this is where value can skyrocket. A regular circulated 2018 dime is worth exactly 10 cents. But if you find one in pristine, uncirculated condition, what collectors call mint state, its value increases. And if that same coin has a rare error, that's when things start to get serious. Coins graded MS 67 or higher by professional grading services are already considered exceptional. Add a unique minting anomaly to that, and suddenly you're looking at something that could attract the attention of elite collectors and high-end auctions. There have even been whispers in the collector community about private sales involving rare 2018 dimes reaching astonishing figures. though many of these transactions happen quietly behind closed doors. This secrecy only adds to the mystique, fueling speculation that there could be even more valuable versions yet to be discovered. And while you're thinking about that, let me remind you, this is just the beginning. The next coins we're going to uncover later in this series carry stories that are even more mysterious, with twists that will make you question how many fortunes are hiding in plain sight. So make sure you stay with me till the end. Now back to the 2018 P dime. Another factor that adds to its legend is the possibility of transitional errors. These occur when a mint switches from one design or production method to another, and a few coins are accidentally struck using elements from both. While no official transitional error has been widely confirmed for the 2018 dime, the mere possibility has collectors on edge, examining every detail under magnification. The Roosevelt dime itself has a long history, first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Over the decades, its design has remained largely unchanged, which makes any variation, even the smallest one, stand out dramatically. That's why a tiny anomaly on a modern coin can create such a massive buzz. It's unexpected, and in the world of collecting, the unexpected is where fortunes are made. But here's something even more fascinating. Psychology plays a huge role in value. When collectors believe that a coin is rare, demand increases. When demand increases, prices can soar to levels that seem almost irrational. That's how a simple dime can be talked about in the same breath as multi-million-dollar collectibles. It becomes more than just metal. It becomes a story, a legend, a chase. And every collector wants to be the one who finds it. So the next time you receive change, pause for a moment. Look closely. Check the date, the mint mark, the details. Because this could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now. A tiny coin with the potential to rewrite your future. And if you're already amazed by this, just wait. Because coming up next is another coin that has shocked even the most experienced collectors, with a backstory that's even harder to believe. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Next 2001 dime to my YouTube channel, what if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost like something out of a movie. But what if I told you that a simple 2000 P1 dime could hold a value so shocking that even seasoned collectors double-check their eyes before believing it's real? This tiny piece of metal, often overlooked, ignored, or casually spent without a second thought, has quietly built a reputation that borders on legendary status. And here's the twist. Some versions of this very dime have been whispered about in collector circles as being worth up to $2 million. Yes, a single dime that could change your entire life forever. Now, before you think this is just hype, stay with me, because later in this video, I'll reveal even more unbelievable coin stories that get even crazier than this one. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. The 2000 P Roosevelt dime might look completely ordinary at first glance, featuring the familiar profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, a design that has been in circulation since 1946. But the real story begins at the Philadelphia Mint, where something unusual happened during production that year. Millions of dimes were struck as usual, flooding into circulation across the United States, and for the most part, they were exactly what you'd expect: standard composition, standard strike, standard design. But hidden among those millions were a handful of anomalies, rare minting errors that transformed these everyday coins into highly sought-after treasures. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 2000 P dime is the possibility of dramatic mint errors, off-center strikes, double dies, and even wrong planchet errors where the dime was struck on a blank intended for another coin denomination. Imagine finding a dime that looks slightly off. Maybe the design isn't perfectly centered, or the lettering appears doubled ever so slightly. Most people would dismiss it as damage or wear, but collectors know better. These subtle differences can mean everything. In fact, one of the most talked about variations is a dramatic double die obverse, where the inscriptions and Roosevelt's profile appear slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during the die creation process. Under magnification, the doubling becomes clear, and that's when the excitement begins. Now, here's where things get even more intense. Some reports and collector claims suggest that a rare 2000p dime with extreme error characteristics, combined with pristine condition, has been privately valued in the range of hundreds of thousands, and in speculative high-end collector circles, even approaching that jaw-dropping $2 million mark. While confirmed public auction records may not always reach that exact number, the demand, rarity, and mystery surrounding these coins continue to push their perceived value higher and higher. And remember, this is still a coin that could technically be sitting unnoticed in someone's jar of loose change right now. That's what makes this story so powerful. It's not locked away in a museum. It's not guaranteed to be in a collector's vault. It could be anywhere. Let's talk about why collectors are so obsessed with coins like this. In the world of numismatics, rarity is king, but rarity alone isn't enough. A coin must also have a story, something that makes it stand out, something that sparks curiosity and excitement. The 2000p dime checks all those boxes. It represents a modern coin, something people still recognize and use, but with a hidden twist that transforms it into a potential fortune. Add in the thrill of error hunting, and suddenly you have a perfect storm of desirability. Collectors love the idea that a mistake at the mint, something never intended to happen, can create something more valuable than gold itself. There have been real stories, too, of people discovering valuable coins in the most unexpected places. A man sorting through his late father's coin collection stumbled upon a seemingly ordinary dime, only to later discover it had a rare off-center strike and exceptional preservation. Another story tells of a cashier who noticed a slightly unusual dime while counting change, setting it aside out of curiosity, and eventually learning it was worth thousands. These aren't just stories. They're reminders that treasures don't always come with warning signs. Sometimes, they look exactly like everything else. And that's exactly why you need to pay attention. Now, I want you to pause for a second and think about this. How many times have you handled coins without really looking at them? How many dimes have passed through your hands without a second glance? The idea that one of those could have been worth a life-changing amount of money is both thrilling and a little unsettling. But it also means there's still a chance. A real chance. And that's what keeps collectors searching every single day. As we go deeper into this world, you'll start to see that this isn't just about coins. It's about discovery, about hidden value, about the possibility that something small and ordinary can hold extraordinary worth. And speaking of extraordinary, you're definitely going to want to stay until the end, because the next coins we'll be exploring take this idea to a whole new level, with stories that are even more shocking and harder to believe. But coming back to the 2000p dime, one more factor plays a crucial role in its value: condition. In coin collecting, condition is everything. A coin that's been heavily circulated, scratched, or worn down will never reach the same heights as one that's been preserved in near-perfect condition. Grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate coins based on their state of preservation, and a high-grade example of a rare error coin can skyrocket in value. Imagine a 2000p dime with a rare mint error, perfectly preserved, with sharp details and brilliant luster. That's the kind of coin that collectors dream about. That's the kind of coin that can spark bidding wars and push prices into unimaginable territory. But here's the thing that makes this even more exciting. You don't need to be a professional collector to find one. You don't need expensive equipment or years of experience. All you need is curiosity, attention to detail, and a willingness to look a little closer. Check your change. Look through old jars. Ask family members if they have coins tucked away somewhere. Because the truth is, most people don't know what they have. They don't realize that something so small could be so valuable. And that's exactly why opportunities like this still exist. Before we wrap up this incredible story, let me remind you again, this is just the beginning. The coin we're about to explore next has an even more unbelievable twist, something that makes the story of the 2000p dime look almost simple in comparison. So don't go anywhere, because if you thought this coin was valuable, the next one is even more unbelievable.